I'm Alan Daugherty, editor of ATVB. This afternoon, we're hosting a plenary session at this year's Vascular Discovery Conference, which is being held in San Francisco. One of the highlights of this plenary session is the presentations by our 3 early career awardees. So it's my pleasure to introduce these awardees, who will give a very short summary of their professional backgrounds and the work that's led to this award-winning manuscript. The first is Mireille Ouimet. She is the recipient of the Daniel Steinberg Award in atherosclerosis. She comes from the Ottawa Heart Institute in Canada. Could you tell us a little bit about your background and your science?
Of course, Alan, thank you. So I did my PhD at the Ottawa Heart Institute in the laboratory of Yves Marcel, and there I worked on lipoprotein metabolism and cholesterol efflux, where we discovered a role for autophagy in cholesterol efflux. And then I went on to pursue a postdoctoral fellowship in the lab of Catherine Moore at NYU, where I continued work on autophagy, but studying the role of small microRNA miR33 in this process. And we've identified that miR33 can regulate numerous genes of the autophagy pathway and reverse cholesterol transport. And if we inhibit miR33 in atherosclerosis, this can restore the defect of autophagy that's observed in atherosclerotic plaques. So now I've started an assistant professor position back at the University of Ottawa Heart Institute. I've been there since March, and it's really my pleasure to be receiving this award here. And I thank you for your selection of my candidature. Thank you.
And now it's my pleasure to introduce the second recipient, Reheman Adili. He comes from the University of Michigan, and he's the recipient of the Carl Link Early Career Award in Thrombosis.
Thank you. I am extremely honored to receive this award. I'm trained as a cardiac surgeon initially, and I've been doing thrombosis and hemostasis research in the last 10 years. I am a research assistant professor at the University of Michigan. So thrombosis is a leading cause of death worldwide, and we have many antiplatelet therapy to treat thrombotic disease. However, many of currently available antiplatelet treatment is associated with a bleeding risk. Therefore, in my current study, we study lipoxygenase called 12-LOX, highly expressed in platelets as a potential target to treat thrombotic disease. And in our clinical study, we showed that it is a viable approach to inhibit platelet function and the thrombosis and minimally affect hemostasis and prevent bleeding. Thank you.
And the third award that the journal provides is the Wiesel Early Career Award in Vascular Biology. Recipient this year is Leena Bharath, who comes from Boston University. Leena.
Thank you very much, Alan. I'm very excited to receive this award from ATVB. I completed my PhD from Oklahoma State University and did my first postdoctoral fellowship at University of Utah, then moved on to Boston University to continue my research in autophagy and inflammation. My work is to understand autophagy in the context of vascular health and inflammation. We have found some really interesting pathways that leads to dysregulation of nitric oxide bioavailability, and we are able to restore nitric oxide production and vascular function in endothelial cells and intact arteries when we rescue autophagy. And this has a really good application in the context of aging and metabolic diseases. Thank you.
So just to finish, I would like to really congratulate you. These are very competitive awards, and so we're really honored that such talented young investigators would be the recipients this year. Thank you.